a lot of people think, oh, okay, so free speech, I get it. I can say whatever I want, and it's kind of a shield that I hide behind. Not exactly. Over time, the court has come up with what it calls a categories, or a two-tiered approach. So there is some speech that gets the full First Amendment protection, but over time the court has said other categories of speech just simply aren't as important because they're not as valuable. And so most speech is protected, but if it falls into certain categories like fraudulent speech, defamatory speech, obscenity, there's a couple I'd like to talk about that might have some more relevance in a college context. So for example, one of the kinds of speech that is not protected is a true threat. So a true threat is when someone means to convey that a threat to somebody's bodily safety or even life, and the person believes that their safety, their bodily safety or life is in jeopardy. So it has to be targeted at an individual. The person has to mean to cause that kind of fear. They don't have to intend to go through with the threat, and a reasonable person would say, I feel like it might be in jeopardy. So for example, posting on Facebook or social media that said, so-and-so, my ex-girlfriend, she better watch it because one of these evenings after class, I'm going to get her, or my friend is going to get her. And there's a lot of things that go into weighing it, but if it's done to intimidate and it actually causes that kind of intimidation, that's not protected. The other thing that I think is relevant to a college campus would be the category is incitement, or speech that incites imminent unlawful action or violence. So speech that in a crowded situation where somebody actually gets people worked up enough to commit imminent unlawful violent action, that's not protected. But there's two things that are necessary. They have to be promoting the unlawful action, violent action, and it has to actually be probable to happen. It's not theoretical. And then in those situations, so if you get people whipped up into a frenzy to attack someone, that's not protected. So there's a lot that's protected, but it's not an excuse. It's not in everything goes. And again, I just want to reiterate, we have a lot of power with our words. And so that's why we have to think about it and use some responsibility. We don't want the government to tell us what that is, but we ourselves need to think about the kinds of messages that we're sending.